It's feedback gaming. This is it. We are on the home stretch towards Waking the Tiger DLC and the patch 1.5. This is a huge summary of all the changes that are going to come in that update and this DLC, and I will go through them all right now. The Chinese focus tree. The Chinese focus tree is a completely new focus tree for mainland China. It's a linear focus tree, it doesn't have a lot of choices in there, but the idea is to develop China to a modern nation to defend off other threats around them, such as the warlords or the Japanese. You got Manchukuo, which is the northern half of China, which is a puppet of Japan. You either have a choice to become more integrated with Japan to gain factory buffs, as well as sort out the internal problems, or you become your own independent kingdom and restore the monarchy of China. You've got Communist China, which works against directly with mainland China to try and overthrow it, but it's had its own little take on its own focus tree, focused towards socialism and communism with Mao. And finally, there's the final variation of the national focus tree for China, and that is the warlords. All the warlords get the same focus tree. It's a shorter focus tree, but the idea is to get powerful enough to overthrow main China, and when you do overthrow mainland China, you gain their focus tree, so you continue the game in their place. The chain of command. Now you will have a field marshal that leads an army group and then generals that lead the army below them. This means you'll be seeing more generals used in battle, and you'll be able to assign field marshals and generals to do certain roles in different areas. Traits and command power abilities. Now you can give different traits for different generals to make them better at certain roles depending on where they're going to be fighting and who they're going to be fighting. This works as a kind of like RPG system built in for generals in the game that lets you use them to their best abilities. That was good. The Japanese focus tree. The Japanese focus tree has been completely reworked and built from the ground up. You now have the ability to go all three ideologies and continue on your national focus tree. You can go democratic and maybe start a possible civil war with the mainland. You have the ability to go for your historical ambitions and conquer China, or choose to go for a different route, maybe to attack the Soviet Union. And finally you can go communist and, well, as liberate, well, you can potentially liberate your colonies. That also includes, built within it, the ability to see the rivalry between the army and the navy within the nation. The reworked German focus tree. With the vanilla release of HOI4, you were limited with what direction you could send Germany. You could play it historically, and then there was some very slight variations of going, hey, historical. But it would always be the same. You'd be Hitler, and you'd just be doing something ever so slightly different, or maybe in a slightly different order that was done within World War II. Now you have the ability to rebuild the German Empire, and you also have the ability to return back to the Weimar Republic and reform the democratic Germany. The Waffen SS Volunteers. This is something they've not talked about in one of the dev diaries. This is something that kind of sneaked in there. So now, built within the game, there's kind of an invisible slider. Well, it's not completely invisible. If you look in the Events and Decisions tab for Germany, you can see a relationship with you, the SS, and the Weimar. So depending on some decisions that you can choose to do, you can favor the SS. Events and Decisions. Now you have an extra ledger that allows you to pick historical as well as ahistorical events and decisions that can fire within your country at the cost of political power that do certain things for your nation. I've seen a few of these in the live stream, some of the German ones, some of the Japanese ones, and they are amazing. Acclimatization. Divisions now, depending on if they're fighting in hot or cold, will become acclimatized to those conditions, so therefore will not suffer penalties, or not as bad as penalties, when fighting